was one rack away from a place in the semi-final. Here he is, a year on, and he has made the last four. Here comes the lag.
Yeah, the lag hasn't seemed to really produce a break and run in that opening game. Great lag there from Oy.
Naoyuki Oy wins the leg.
You know, if you look back at this European Open, of course, two of the biggest names the first year in the finals, that being Alvin Ocean and SVB, but the next 2 years were really catapulted rankings and kind of careers for those two winners. Excuse me, David Alcadia got him back on the map after a struggle, but then we saw Mickey Krause really make a name for himself here. So I think you got three guys besides Phil that were really trying to get it done.
One thing we've not had in any of the 3 European Opens there have been is a non-European winner. And Oy is the only player left who can book that trend.
Yeah, Oy, that he really doesn't have a weakness. You know, sometimes he can get a hair out of sorts, but he regroups pretty well. Shot maker, someone who's come tactically a long ways. Breaks the balls pretty well. I'd say he's above average on tour, that's for sure. Just seems like, though, Maciol's breaking and running a lot of racks every match, and we'll see how that unfolds here on the main table.
So on these big days, Jeremy, we get people watching who might not be that familiar with 9-ball. So an early opportunity for you to outline what this push-out is all about.
Yeah, the push-out in 9-ball pool is only after the break. It's either the breaker after making a ball like Oy here, or the incoming player after a dry break. They have one opportunity to declare a push-out.
Okay, please
move the cue ball wherever they want on the table without a foul, and then the incoming player has the option to take the shot or pass it back. Very crucial, it seems, in the 9-ball pool, much more than it appears just at first light. Little flick towards the pink. Okay, he's left an opening, it appears. Maybe has to kind of ease it.
The target increases slightly. It's been raced to 10 in the last few rounds. Now you need 11 to get through to tonight's final.
And I think he just kind of goes one reel into the... Oh, he's elevated, so maybe he's trying to stun into the 8. Yeah, I thought he might roll that and just hit the back of the 8 coming off one cushion and hold for the red 3 in the opposite corner, but talk about, in America, we talk about American football as a game of inches. What do you think pool is? And these guys see those little bitty things much better than we do from the booth.
Extension call.
Poland's Daniel Maciol is 25 years of age. He's number 56 in the world rankings, but whatever happens today, there will be a big leap coming for him when the list is revised after this tournament.
I was about to say, you talk about a shot early you might not want, but if you do bury it, it can go a long ways, and that's with that red 3. Now look at the position he's looking at. Hard to stun across, but also hard to pull it up the rail with the slight angle. So this will show us a lot. Yeah, I didn't really think he could bring it up the rail. Maybe played it, you know, not too risky, really bringing in the miss on the pink. Now, he's got to be careful here. There's a few reasons why. The block 8 hanging up in the corner, it's not a hard bank combination, believe it or not. I mean, it looks like it may be a little crazy, but if he doesn't get the snooker, that certainly may be an option for Naoyuki. He played the bank the opposite corner. Pretty smart, trying to play a two-way, leaving distance.
Extension called.
And like many of the Polish players, really hard to get a read on how he's feeling, right? I mean, they're very, very focused at all times. Looking at him, though, you just kind of wonder how he slept last night, right? I mean, we've seen him every day. He looked a little more fresh in past days to me.
Well, he'll certainly have wanted to sleep well, because if he is to win the title today, so much pool to be played.
Yeah, Oy trying to possibly make it, but also run the cue ball for some type of safety. And ever since the SVB match, he really hasn't been threatened. Gotten off to nice leads. Ko Ping-yi really manhandled that match without Ko Ping-yi doing much wrong. And like most of the bigger guys in the sport, really easy swings with that big arc.
Always a big Polish contingent in these events. 9 of them started out, and 6 of those made the 64-man single elimination stage, more than any other country. 2 of them survived to the quarterfinals, and then Wojciech Szewczyk, the other one, bowed out last night to Joshua Filler.
And I'll tell you, Szewczyk, to me, from what I saw, really got comfortable towards the end of that match, and then no luck. 8-6 breaking, getting kissed in. Made a beautiful shot at 9-6, maybe to get back in the match and get snookered. So Szewczyk, watch out for him coming up in 2025. I think he's going to make a lot of noise.
Well, he was simply flawless in his previous match against the hometown favourite, Sanyam Pelovanovic.
Yeah, we all love the shot makers, and of course, guys like Oy with the energy, but you'll notice the Polish players as a whole keep it really simple. That's always a plus.
First major semi-final for Daniel Maciol, and he wins the first rack. Leads Naoyuki Oy 1-0. So as I was saying, we get new viewers on these big days. The essentials are you've got to hit the lowest number ball remaining on the table first. So long as you do that, any pot you make is legal and keeps you at the table. As we look there at Pelovanovic, the former world champion, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. So if, for example, the lowest number ball remaining is 3, and you hit that first and pop the 7, then you stay at the table. And the winner of the rack, as we look back on the moment when Maciol was let in, is the player who pots the 9, irrespective of who has potted what balls prior to that. And if, of course, you make a combination, as they're called, by, say, hitting the 5 and then using that to pot the 9, that's just as valid a way of winning it. You can, of course, win the rack on the break if the 9 goes in. A bit of good fortune involved in that, known as the golden break. And essentially, Jeremy, it's a game of control, being in control of the situation and keeping it and not handing it over to your opponent.
Yeah, it's got a lot of that. The beauty of it, there's different styles. It's fast and loose, but also tactical at times.
First look at Maciol's break.
Yeah, well, I didn't expect the scratch, but this table's been breaking kind of tough. So I was a little concerned just because Maciol, I think that's really where he's gotten those leads. Now, a couple funny kisses, but he did catch it a little thin. That's why I think he kind of went back to his chair, not really too upset. It's a little on him.
Yeah, in conjunction with what I was saying there, any ball that goes down off the break, so long as you don't scratch, as Maciol did, means you continue at the table. But ideally what the players are trying to do, if the break's working, is to keep making that 1 in the side pocket. Maciol did, but scratched as well. And as every foul means ball in hand, Oy has a good chance to swiftly level.
Yeah, and this first shot could have been a little better. Only reason saying is his real first time at the table offensively. So he's going to bump the pink here. Oh, he went by it. He's got options on that 5. Should be a clearance, but the 5-9 was there just in case he got a little funny. You'll definitely see a little difference around the table. A little more edgy, you might call it. Definitely the feet moving a little faster for Oy. But he likes that.
42 years of age now. He wouldn't be the oldest winner of the title. David Al-Kaidi was 44 when he was champion in Fulda the year before last. Ranked number 31 in the world.
Yeah, I was looking to go forward here, and they're both options. I kind of like going backwards myself. Yeah, I like that. Especially with the 8 so open to both bottom corner pockets. Okay, just one to pay attention to. Close enough to it. He can work the cue ball pretty much however he wants. Probably the draw stroke. And he's going to follow by, so no threat of a scratch in the lower left.
There was a scratch, though, right at the start of the rack of Daniel Maciol's break, and it looks as though it's going to cost him the rack. Because Oi has cleared up and levelled at 1-all. Would you have seen Oi over the years, Jeremy, as someone who would be capable of winning a big event like this?
Absolutely. I think he's a guy that has never given up on his pool game, never given up on himself. He believes in what he does. And, you know, we all loved him for many things. And guy, his interviews back in the day and just the fun stuff he brought to the tour. And now he's a real contender at all times. Really kind of shocked so quiet in 2024.
So there's the prize money. The winner's check has shot up. 30,000 last year, 40,000 now, and you can see how quickly it goes up when you get to these later rounds. Everyone guaranteed a 5-figure check in these major events now for making it to the last day. Big prize money differential between winner and runner-up. And of course, every one of those dollars translates into a world ranking point, and that can lead on to all sorts of opportunities as well. Swiftly on then to rack 3.
And I'll tell you, in the last couple of days, we have seen this one ball missed quite often on the main table, and you can't really pinpoint why. I mean, looks like he got the arc on the cue ball he wanted, 2 rails back into the 9. Did squeeze the 2 ball in the lower corner. These long ones can do a lot early if you can bury him, and he's certainly going to go here. Looks like really natural, 2 cushions around. Got to be a little concerned about the purple 5, but I probably go ahead and be a little aggressive and come 2 cushions past the 5, between the 5 and 9. Doesn't want to get elevated.
I think when people saw those interviews that were shown on different sports news channels and being passed around on the internet, if they hadn't seen Naoyuki Oi play yet, I think when they did, they were perhaps expecting him to be leaping around the arena and playing crazy shots, but he's certainly well able to switch all that off once he walks out into the arena.
Yeah, him at the table has actually calmed down a bit. Back in the day, he was a hair more animated, but really came into his own around 2022 and then 23. Had a lot of big wins. I think he got to the U.S. Open and the World 9-Ball semifinal in the same year, if I remember correctly.
Well, he was in the U.S. Open semi-final, his last big semi-final actually, in 2021, and he was only a couple of racks away from getting to the final.
Yeah, I always confuse those years. I always give it a extra year because of pandemic. But plays with a lot of energy and a lot of confidence. What you got to like about most of the 9-ball players, and A lot of them are very similar, but at the same time kind of do it their way.
So another term you might not be familiar with if you're new to the game is break and run. It's essentially when you pot something off the break, see out the rack from there, keep your opponent in his chair. And this looks like being the first we've seen in this semi-final.
Yeah, so that scratch on the break in game number 2. He's giving up a lot.
Yeah, because it is a winner breaks format, which means that by winning rack 2, he got the break in rack 3, and he's made the most of it. Having lost the opener, he's taken the next 2, and he leads for the first time at 2-1. We're here in Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina, at the Hotel Hills. The first time this city has hosted the European Open after 3 years in Fulda in Germany. And Naoyuki has just made the first break and run of this semi-final to lead Daniel Maciol 2-1. He could be off and running here in rack 4.
Yeah, nice break off, getting the one down. Cue ball zigzagging across. 2 got a little bit of a shave off the red 3. I think it would end up a little easier. And I think he stays attached here just because really not a whole lot of safety options. And you don't want to push out necessarily when you can see the ball. It does come up here and there. It's really good at the thin one. It is some distance. I think he could go up and down the table for position. There is a path. I think he's supposed to shoot here. I know it could get him in trouble, but I think if he pushes out, I think he gets it back. So I think he's supposed to take this on. If he gets a little thin on this, the lower right corner with the cue ball. Sweet shot. One thing you like about Oy, or at least as a player you recognize it, is he really goes with what he sees. Not really much adjustment. Delivers the cue. And we have a cell phone going off in the crowd. We'll get that taken care of. Oy liked that ringtone.
Extension called.
So as I said, he was a couple of racks away from the US Open final in 2021. Just lost 11-9 to the eventual winner, Carlo Biado. He's been a world semi-finalist as well, lost to Darren Appleton. He's had a few more good world championships since then. Number of last 16 runs.
Yeah, this one's going to hurt a little bit, a little shy of his mark. Things could have been very routine, and now I think he's got to put a little brain into this and what's going to happen coming across. Can he draw by the 8 and spin back over? Oh, really nice. Doesn't want to fall underneath this too much. Could become odd. You can see narrowly missing the 8. Cue ball held up as well, so I think he can pinch it back.
He's beaten some very good players by very big margins this week. Hona Suto, who always seems to make the single elimination stage of these events these days, was dispatched 10-0, and he had a 10-1 win over Max Lechner, former US Open runner-up.
Yeah, well, you don't beat those two or any of those top players without putting some racks together, and we can see it. That scratch on the breaking game, too, has been very costly for Daniel Maciol.
Yeah, he's been sitting down since. 3 in a row for Naoyuki. He's been around a long time, JJ, as we've said. 42 years of age now, Oy. Is it hard, do you think, in a situation like this, when he's not been in a big semi-final for a long time, to avoid a certain feeling of, I might not get many more of these chances?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could think about that, especially if someone reminds you of it, maybe. But I don't think that's Naoyuki Oy too much overall. I think he fights that age or getting a little older better than anyone with that energy he carries. So I don't think that's him. I think that's how he became more than just the interview guy, a great player and a real threat is keeping on, trying to improve that game and believing in yourself. So I think he's okay there.
And I don't think there's an age barrier in the game, really. We don't see many guys his age winning big events. They tend to be younger players, particularly last year with Gorst winning so much. But I don't think that's because these guys are too old to play well anymore. It's just because that younger generation is so good.
Break, leading by 3 racks, 2-1.
Yeah, without a doubt, Michael.
Maciol in his chair, itching for a chance to get back to the table.
Well, the 2's going to drop. He's going to end up with a very thin one again. A little more push-out opportunity or options, you may say. Again, he could attack. Hard to scratch. I think he's a favorite to make it, even though very missable. And you can't say for sure it's the winning shot, but the pink is out in the open. Yeah, not his best delivery there. You could see kind of slapped out of the hair.
Yeah, I think we knew long before the cue ball got as far as the red 3. He wasn't going to make the pot.
But again, 9-ball pool, if you're on the fence, you don't necessarily have to leave anything easy. That's certainly the case here. Now, did get the cue ball over the purple 5. Boy, has a little of the left side of the cue ball. That could really help.
Extension called.
Well, I'd like to just do everything I could to get this ball down. I don't really like him attacking with a lot of speed. You know, the medium stroke is always everyone's favorite when you have to, you know, hit it on the light side or the heavy side. That's where it gets really difficult. Decide to play the safety, or containing shot, you might say. Now, I think he's looking at playing the cue ball into the 8 as the 3 comes down. He may be cutting the 3 into the 8. He may sneak the 3 off the back of the 8 in the upper left. He wants to swing the cue ball back behind the pink and the green 6. Kind of a two-way shot. Yeah, with low outside, he does have a chance to kiss this 3 in. Now he may leave a gap. No, I think he's all right.
Mentioned those World Championship and US Open semi-finals Oi has been in. In addition to that, Japan have reached the semi-finals of the World Cup of Pool twice, and he's been involved on both occasions. He was one rack away from getting there with Japan again 3 years ago. Lost hill to the surprise package of that year, Slovakia.
Solid hit. And he's just going to leave it a hair awkward. Only reason saying that is Daniel's a lefty, even though a tall lefty. It's going to be a little bit of an awkward stretch, especially with the green 6 there. Now, the key to this shot, especially when you're hitting kind of down on the ball, because he's over the 6, is make sure you don't baby it. Put a little more speed. Needs a friendly bump.
Maciol's been known about for some time already. He was World Under-17 champion in Shanghai some 8 years ago now. Some very good players have won those underage titles in recent years.
He's going to land on the rail, and the problem with this is there any issue with the black 8? Is he going into that? Can he beat it? Yeah, perfect speed. Just enough angle when he draws back. He should be able to avoid the black 8. I think Daniel, as much as anything, of course, you want to win this rack, but wants to get back to the break. Probably not very happy with that scratch, and it cost him 3 games. And even though routine, everything a little awkward. Again, cueing over the 8, he's got to go forward with some top inside English, it appears. Now he's looking at maybe stunning, and that's maybe because he is a little elevated. Watch outside pocket if he does stun. Is he looking at a two-way here? Certainly thought he would play the cross side bank.
Oh, what a big moment this could be so early on. There was a lot of pressure on that chance for Maciol. He knew the consequences if he missed at any stage, and they were obvious once he'd left the 9 over the pocket. And how quickly things can change in this game. As we always say, Jeremy, it was only about 30 seconds ago Maciol looked odds on to get back within a single rack. Now he's already facing quite a substantial deficit.
Yeah, nice bank on the 8. And it looked like he kind of changed how he was going to shoot the 9. He originally got down with a lower tip position, decided to roll it, which I think rolling it is the percentage play.
How quickly Naoyuki was out of his chair to mop up the unmissable 9. And all of a sudden, he's got a 4-1 lead. This is just the first of 2 events here in Sarajevo. There's a gap of a few days now before it's into Premier League pool. This is an event that's now in its 5th year in various forms. Shane Van Boening will be there to defend his title. Really need a lot of stamina for that. You play so many matches. It's a pretty relentless pool for 8 days, all short matches. Races to 5 until it gets to the playoff stage when it's down to the top 4. Lots of big names there. Jason Shaw, Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz, Pius Labutis, who we'll be seeing later, and Johan Chua.
The 9-ball pool, ever since I started, they always talked about how you would get punished after a big mistake. Sometimes it'd be a golden break when your opponent would make after a huge error, but this may as well be the same. It looks like he's really dressed up here on this rack and looking for his 3rd break and run of the match, I believe.
Correct. We see sometimes players who come into this final day of a tournament like this, and it's a totally different feel, isn't it? Early on, you've got over 20 tables, there's noise everywhere. Final day, 1 table, it all goes very quiet and feels a lot more serious. And some players seem to struggle with the start of that. Petri Mäkinen comes to mind in the UK Open in Telford last May. Are you seeing any of that in Maciol?
Well, the one thing I keep looking at is, again, been watching him all week, and you know, you'd like to say, of course, maybe some stress in the face, but man, I'm not so sure on how he slept last night. He looks a little worn out. Of course, missing them 9s, that'll give you a gut check quickly. And you know, he hasn't played on this table all week, and it's not so much the table, maybe just the setting itself.
Yeah, Noy's had a lot of this over the years. Those big semi-finals in the past, and all the matches he's played in the World Cup, because in that event, everything is main table, because there only is the main table, so it's nothing new to him at all.
Yeah, and the World Cup's so unique because there's, of course, you want to win for your country. It's a huge event. Having that partner you don't want to let down, so all kinds of emotions there, but exactly what the doctor ordered for Oy, getting those feet moving and getting that right arm swinging.
Spoke after his quarter-final win against Low Ho Sum last night about feeling really tired. Well, he seems to have put that to one side. He's all about adrenaline and nervous energy, and it's sweeping him along at the moment, because after losing the opening rack, Naoyuki has put together 5 in a row, and in very little time he's already almost halfway to victory. 5-1 to the Japanese star. Poland's Daniel Maciol got off to a positive start in this European Open semi-final in Sarajevo, but it's been all Naoyuki since then. Maciol really should have won rack 5, but he didn't. In fact, since taking the opener, he's lost all the racks they've played. So Oi, 42-year-old Japanese player, is now leading this semi-final 5-1, 11 required for a place in the final. For either of them, it will be the first time they'd ever been to the final of an event of this stature. That's what happened last night. Maciol ended the dramatic run of Tobias Bongers with a 10-6 win. That Oi low score should actually be the other way round. The All-Asian clash, it was 10-7 in Oi's favour. And still to come after this, we've got the other semi-final, Joshua Filler against Pius Labutus, who's been in 2 Matchroom Major semi-finals before. He was a single rack away from winning one of those semi-finals. Very capable player who's been steadily improving over the last 3 years or so. Filler, a former world and US Open champion, never managed to win this title when it was played in his home country. Very much the favourite, I think, in most people's eyes going into today to win the European Open for the first time.
Leading by 5 racks to 1.
If Naoyuki Oi continues to play like this for the rest of the day, he'll have a great chance. He's leading 5-1.
Yeah, the one down. A nice look at the blue 2 because it's so alone. The green 6 has gotten in the way of that upper right corner. He would have wanted to stay offensive, of course, they all do, but don't think he shoots this combination. Should figure out something very handy on the safety side, though. And here, you know, with a 5-1 lead, a lot of heat on Daniel. Just keep it simple. Get the most simple snooker you can. Of course, don't leave the 2 near a pocket for the jump cue or anything like that, but don't feel like it's got to be a devastating snooker. Ball in hand is not needed. It's a hair odd. If I'm comfortable, I may just clip the 2 on the right side, go the rail, and just nestle on the 6. I think at this level and such close proximity, that's a pretty easy shot. Plus, you may get a lot out of it.
Extension closed.
Could kind of shoot through the 2, bringing the 2 down, but if he gives them a look, yeah, something like that is what I liked, yeah. Even though you're not getting the 2 all the way down table, you just got to realize, you know, you're so good, you should be able to pull that shot off.
Already got a lot of history in this European Open. Last 16, 2 years ago. Quarterfinals last year, now in the semis. The progression continues. He's under pressure here.
Nice hit, but you can see them coming together, so always going to have the upper hand again here in rack number 7 and can extend to what feels like a massive lead. Players will love that extra game to race to, though, Michael. That race to 11 becomes a little more mentally easing if you're trailing.
As I said, the last time Oi had a run like this in one of these Matchroom tournaments was about 3.5 years ago at the US Open when he got to the semis. A very consistent year in 23 in terms of getting to single elimination. He got there in all of the Matchroom big field events that year, but generally wasn't getting a great deal further. Had a lot of last 32 defeats, only made 1 last 16 that year, and he only got past the last 64 in a Matchroom tournament once in all of 2024.
Yeah, it looked a little light at the start, and it certainly was a little light of ideal, but in close quarters it shouldn't be a problem. Man, you gotta like Oi. I mean, kind of exactly how you want it. You know, when you feel like there's a little more time needed, yeah, he'll take it. But he wants to stay in his rhythm for the most part. And some players just kind of dissect the table a little quicker than others.
So the break didn't take him anywhere this time in terms of trying to run out, but took the opportunity to keep the heat on Maciol. Forced the opportunity, and although it isn't a break and run this time, it looks like being another very swift one on the board for Oy. That wasn't his greatest.
No, I was a little surprised, you know, just because the kind of the nervy, you know, kind of setting we're in, of course, wanting it so bad. I thought he might roll that in, go to the rail, and play the 9 in the right middle. The corners are what they prefer, of course, but usually you can kind of play it to what the table's giving you. Big shot, though.
Oh, but he's just not missing anything much at the moment, is he? It's half a dozen racks in a row for Naoyuki. Oy, he already leads 6-1. He was the only Japanese player in the field of 256, Jeremy, and he's generally been flying the flag alone for Japan at this level for a number of years now. But going back a bit, there were a lot of good Japanese players, including several world champions.
Yeah, Takahashi, Kunihiko Takahashi was a great player. Now my brain's losing me all of a sudden. Okamura was a great player.
Kakuriyama.
Yeah, Kakuriyama. Kawabata, who really didn't get those wins, and then unfortunately had to kind of quit the game due to some things. And another great player from Japan. But yeah, we used to go to Japan quite often for a couple tournaments a year, and what a fine place to play, and big pool scene.
The All Japan Championship, that was the one that a lot of big names used to go to.
Yeah, it was at the end of November, and we'd go early for the Tokyo Open, and then stay a couple weeks in between, and then go to Osaka for the All Japan Championships, which is still around, by the way.
I think it was Ko Ping Chung got to the final of that when he was
leading
15.
by 7 racks to 1.
Who knows? A pretty prestigious tournament, though. He hasn't missed the one, has he yet?
Oh, really rubbing salt into Daniel Maciol's wounds. That is the golden break. And it is now 7-1. But that goes back to what I was saying earlier. You pot the 9 at any stage and you win the rack, so long as you've hit the lowest numbered ball remaining on the table first. And of course, you're always going to do that on the break because it's going to be the 1 at the top of the diamond. And then you're hoping, maybe, the odd time, that the 9 might get a flick. Cue ball did just that, and the 9 obligingly dropped in.
Yeah,
7-1.
Well, 2 huge mistakes for Maciol, that not so good break in rack number 2, and then the missed 9. And you know, you usually always get punished. Sometimes it's by a little bit of the pool gods, but it's mainly been Oy here so far with a pretty flawless performance.
Yeah, just to answer your question, he did miss the 1 in the side once. It was in the 3rd rack, but he did make another ball and ran out anyway.
Naoyuki to break.
That's right.
Leading by 7 racks to 1.
Daniel Maciol's waited a long time to get to a big semi-final. Might be fearing he'll hardly get involved in it.
Yeah, and the 2's going to be in close proximity again. I'm not so sure it's offensive. It's close to it, so you got to believe he's going to attack to the lower right. Especially, it kind of sends the cue ball towards the 3 off of 1 cushion. I think he shoots. It is thin, but I think he goes. I think he should. Overhead will show us the angle a little bit better. Yeah, absolutely. I think he shoots. The 3 goes to both corners. He could maybe go 1 rail into the 3. He's got a lot of options. Problem is he's got a lot of safety options also.
Extension called.
So a decision to make.
What do you make of the decision that he has come to.
Well, he's executing, so it was a solid decision, and he didn't want to give up the table. Maciol was praying he played safe, even if he did get the snooker, just to try and create something on his side, whatever it may be.
Extension called.
Remember, probably the biggest comeback of the event was done by this man right here against SVB. He trailed 8-4. That was to go into the final 16, I believe.
Yeah, so that was 6 in a row from there.
Unless this goes in, it's going to give up another easy one. And really a good effort. I mean, he was trying to hold the ball and bank the two rails to the top cushion, and just with limited opportunity, not a whole lot working his way.
The other big turnaround, of course, was Tobias Bongers needing to win the last 5 racks to stay in the tournament against Yannick Pongers on the main table, and did it. But in terms of the scale of victory that Maciol was pulling off, I think his turnaround against SVB will be remembered much longer.
Yeah, I wonder. He's going to need to play for an angle, I think, here on the pink to work the cue ball. If he tries to get on the good side, he may make this a missable ball. Oh, he hit it sweet. No matter what he needs, he's doing it.
The game is hard, isn't it, Jeremy? Because if you're watching Naoyuki at the moment, you could get the impression it's pretty easy. He's making it look that way.
Yeah, he's in the zone, as we say. Really kind of playing the game by himself out there. He's got to use a little speed here. Caught that a little thick. That may actually help the speed getting to the 6.
I can't think off the top of my head of any big matches you ever played against Naoyuki. Have there been any in the past?
No, I've never played him. No, I take that back. I did play him at the Texas Open One Pocket division a few years ago. We had a lot of fun. I'll tell you, he was asking me what shot to shoot and whatnot because he just didn't know the game. But
Well, he sure knows 9-ball, and he's playing it right now about as well as it's possible to. And if he can win just 3 more racks, he'll be in his first major final. It's 8-1.
Don't even know what you are messing with. We're coming at you with a brand new hit. Something's telling me
Golden moment in rack 8 for Naoyuki with the golden break. Well, the other moments have been pretty good since he lost the first rack. He's won 8 in a row. Naoyuki is 3 away from getting to the final of the European Open. Very well liked, familiar player. He's had a lot of big runs in big tournaments, but he's never won a major title. Even been to the final of one. That could all change very soon, and this is very nice again, it looks like, JJ.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, when you play well, you run well, little things, watch the little bump on the Bluetooth from the pink. Probably going to be rolling out, or maybe a funny safety instead. Gets to stay offensive. Now he's a little thin. Can he hold for the red 3? When you're close to it, you can overcome these angles with usually some type of kill spin. Could handle all the way to the middle of the table. And he killed it nicely. And really the thing is, I know he's had some starters, but it's been a variety of great shots and different types of strokes needed here to really put on what looks like the best performance of the tournament.
Yeah, I think I may have mentioned earlier, I would liken it to what Shevchik did against Pelovanovic. Very similar, had a golden break, 4 other break-in runs.
Yeah, we had some early, I mean, where players were a big favorite in the match, and of course not as much pressure as the semifinal. SVB broke around maybe six racks. Now that was against Tony Drago. Now Tony can certainly defend himself and a great player in his own right, but I steal the moment, and again facing a guy that's really kind of laid people to waste all week. I got to put this one as the best performance I've seen.
And you know, the last time we saw Naoyuki in one of these Matchroom Open events, he went out with a 10-0 defeat. And also, let's not forget, he's already lost to Daniel Maciol earlier in the tournament.
Yeah, we talked about it. Hard to beat a team twice, beat a player twice. A little movement there, but that's Oy at times. I think it's hard for even him to bottle all that energy.
Golden break does go down in the record books as a break and run. So, Oy is a couple of balls away from completing his 5th of the match.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem, but thought he may kind of stun a little more forward there. Go on ahead, don't baby it too much. That way you don't get a kick. Everything's real clean, and I tell you, he's playing this match like he's got somewhere to be, Michael.
Looks like he's almost certainly going to have somewhere to be tonight in the European Open final. He's 2 racks away from getting there. Now, nobody knows more than you, Jeremy, about how to deal with players, what to say to them and when to say it. So if this basically fizzles out the way it looks like it's going to at the moment for Maciol, if you were in his corner and having a word with him afterwards about where he goes from here, what sort of things would you be saying to him?
I just remind him that, you know, these kind of things are few and far between. You know, like I said earlier, you expect some punishment when you make a mistake, but this has been the full paddle of punishment from Naoyuki, and it's just a special performance. I think it's something that Daniel's not going to like if it continues and it ends up the way we figure it. But you know, I think, you know, with a little condolence from maybe a partner or two of his, a fellow player and friend, he gets over it pretty easily. And not only that, you got a bright 2025 to look forward to, and a guy that's in form, that being Daniel Maciol. Yeah, anytime the 2's freed up by itself, that's a good look, even though it's a tough shot. I don't think Oy's going to slow down. Now he's got to play this with a little bit of a funny speed. Wants to drop somewhat near the bottom cushion. That way he can play a kiss shot on the 8 off the red 3. this will be good enough. Now he needs to put a little speed on this so the cue ball escape. The 9's got the upper corner blocked, so he can't just play short side. And this is one, you know, with the racking area very clear. I wouldn't worry too much. I wouldn't try and pick it apart. I think you may get a double kiss on the 3 on the cue ball. After he pockets the 8, the 3 comes off the rail. Now, you just don't want to hit it too hard. He wasn't happy the way he played it. Didn't expect to bank that underneath the pink 4 and get covered up. I'll tell you, if the kick isn't there to try and make it, I'd try to kick this and come across it and send the cue ball up table. Kick to the short cushion. Yeah. You should judge this pretty nicely. You'll have the 3 just kind of bank on the bottom cushion here on the bottom end as the cue ball escapes upstairs. Oh, he's just doing everything really well.
Maciol will try to take consolations away from what looks like being a heavy defeat here. As I said, he's number 56 in the world.
Extension called.
He actually dropped quite a number of places in the course of 2024, having started the year just inside the top 40. But even by getting this far, he'll get back to something like that level in the rankings.
I think this is going to settle.
For sure, he's given up a lot of chances, Jeremy, but it's not like he's been doing that from easy positions. It's because he keeps getting put under pressure by Oy. So it's not like Maciol can come away from this and have loads of shots to look back on and regret.
No, I mean, the one thing he'll be upset is the limited, you know, time he's had at the table. You know, he's had those few mistakes. Just look back at the 9 more than anything he missed. Never has really gotten back to the break, which has been a big asset this week.
And it sounds like a crazy thing to say, doesn't it, when you consider it's 9-1, possibly about to go 10-1. But you go all the way back to rack 2. If he doesn't scratch in the side, or perhaps it was the corner actually, but either way, he did scratch in that rack, it really could have been a totally different day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, you know, those kisses are funny. Sometimes you hit him good, you get kissed in there. He didn't hit him how he wanted. But what I'm getting at is just what Oy's done. Just that you can, like I said, predict some of the punishment, but not this much. You know, filler can get going, but you think anyone's going to get going like this? No stalling in Naoyuki Oy's game.
Yeah, I've not seen filler today. I do see Pius Labutus, though, across the hall from us practicing. Looks as though he's going to be starting his 3rd major semi-final a good deal earlier than he would ever have foreseen.
And when I walked in the building today, Oy was already hitting balls, and that was probably around 11 o'clock, I guess, 11:15.
It's 10 in a row for Naoyuki Oy. And in what feels like no time at all, he has made it to the hill. He is 1 rack away from reaching the final of a Matchroom major event for the very first time at the age of 42. And so, as I said, that means Joshua Filler against Pius Labutus should be coming along very shortly. There is Labutus from Lithuania. He was a rack away from the final of the Spanish Open in 2023. He's also been in another big semi-final. Ran Filler hill in the final of the Derby City Classic, a very famous tournament in America last year. And there is Filler, former world champion in 2018, US Open winner the following year, 3-time Mosconi Cup MVP. The list just goes on and on and on, but it doesn't yet include the European Open title. He's still a big favourite to win it, but perhaps a little less so given just how well Oy has played here. And if Oy can continue in this vein for 1 more rack, he
Rack number
sit
12,
back until
Naoyuki to break.
much later this
leading by
evening
10
and
racks
wait the final.
to 1.
It's been breaking so well. Whatever happens, this will be his last break.
Yeah, the 2's going to settle. The pink 4's up top with that blue 2. The purple 5's a little odd just because the 6 pinned on the upper left rail. I was hoping to see Maciol back at the table and see if he kind of maybe lightened the mood, showed us a bit of a smile, maybe some different kind of energy. I know he's not too happy at the moment.
Talked about what Maciol's run will do for him in terms of the world rankings. Well, how about the impact on Oy? 31st at the moment by getting to the final, which looks inevitable now. Could be looking at a climb into the top 20. A lot of permutations involved, points coming off, and obviously the points other players get. And if he can win the final, getting pretty close to the world's top 10. And on this form, Jeremy, that may well be where he belongs.
Yeah, well, he's gotten better as his career's gone along. I thought he was perfect on the pink. He ended up a little short here on the purple. He's really got all the shots. Does he play kind of a firm stun off the 7 and spin towards the 6? Yeah, like that. Still got to show us a couple, though, to finish this match. And this is a really treacherous shot just because the 8 doesn't go past the 9. So not a lot of angle to work off the green 6. Wanted to catch the 7 a little thinner. That way the cue ball had a little more movement. I'll tell you, if he gets out here, of course, I think the inevitable is we're going to see one heck of an interview from Naoyuki. Wow. And he got it back. It's enough, I think. Not easy. He's got to shoot here, right? Is he going to play the safety? No, he's playing the safety.
So he'll settle for just the 5 break and runs in this match.
Yeah, show us one, Daniel.
It's not quite true to say that every time he's come to the table he's been in a position like this, but it probably feels like it for him at the moment. And there is that bit of that smile that you were hoping for, Jake.
Yeah, I've been in this spot kind of saying to myself, this guy just owned me right here in the biggest moment. But he's returned the favor before. And the white towel won't be thrown in, but may as well be.
Foul in hand. Start the shot clock.
And these semifinals and finals in the World 9-Ball Tour, when the scores have been like this, it's been special performances.
He won a ranking event in Helsinki